G'day guys, welcome to RTRC. So, I haven't done a video in a little while, kind of work's been a bit busy, but I kind of wanted to talk about something new, and this is very, very interesting. Now, I'm sure you can tell by looking, well, that side. All those helis over there, I'm really into my helis at the moment, and I've got kind of helis everywhere, and I've got bits of helis, and you name it, I've got helis everywhere. But something big, and I mean really big, is about to hit the market, and I've got one here because I've been fortunate to be part of the team of guys who have been helping to test this and provide feedback, and I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. It's kind of right up my street, testing and playing with technology, so it's been good. But it's very, very big. So, what is it? The Radio Master Nexus. And I happen to have one in the box. And, what's the Radio Master Nexus? Well, it's a flybarless control unit which has been built by Radio Master in conjunction with the developers of Rotorflight. Now, this is quite a big thing, because to give you a little bit of background, obviously, first off, what's Rotorflight? Rotorflight is a open source flybarless control system. It's based on Betaflight 3 point something, I think it was, or maybe it was 4 point something, I lose track. But essentially it was based on Betaflight, and there's a chap online on Discord called Dr. Rudder, and he has ported it all across and done an incredible job, along with a team of other guys who have been doing a lot of testing and providing feedback, and certainly a few other developers adding some code. And what they've built is really quite amazing. It's a control system which kind of, imagine Betaflight for helicopters. You can do literally anything on it, and you could potentially tune out just about any issue you might have. So it's kind of, for the first time, I feel that in the heli world, you're seeing a true contender for the likes of V-Bar. Something that gives you true performance and power. But the long and short of it is that Rotorflight has been troublesome for many people to get into. And the reason being is that many people flying helis don't come from a quadcopter world. And this is a classic example. So I converted my OMP M2 to Rotorflight, and we can see I've got a little all-in-one quadcopter flight stack, and it runs Rotorflight, and it's great. But you know what? I've had to do some micro soldering, I've had to understand I/O pins, there's a whole lot of crap I've had to do. And whilst I might be capable of that, Joe Average heli pilot probably isn't. So that's been a bit of a bottleneck. Now, it's not a total bottleneck, and I think it's worth noting there have been other solutions for a while. So, for example, we have Flywing. We're probably one of the first, and they released this little FBL. It's great. I'm running it in a couple of my helis, and it works no problem at all. So I can't say it's bad, but I'm not going to say it's the best either, but only because it's got one of the older style processors on board. So it's good, but it could be better. You've then got, there's a chap, I think it's Mo on Discord, who's developed this, which is a Rotorflight flybarless controller. This is pretty fantastic. And it kind of does everything you potentially want. But I guess you know what? The difficulty with these sort of boards, and it's no disrespect to Mo or anything like that, in the end, it's about distribution and awareness. And this is all about to change now, because it's great that Mo can produce these, and I don't know how many he makes, but maybe several thousand, and out they go, and all of us developers and everyone are going, yes, we love it. But actually, we want to see this in every heli shop in the world. That would be fantastic. And it's a little bit of a further leap, if that makes any sense. So, the Radio Master Nexus is kind of interesting. Now, I'm going to pop this open now, just because you guys probably want to see, but I guess the point here, which is really, really interesting, Radio Master have a massive distribution network already, and they have a massive following. And what that means is this Nexus flybolus unit will kind of get everywhere and become known very quickly. So I've just got about, well, nearly got this open. So all up, I think the impact that this board will have is pretty fantastic. Now, on top of that, what is kind of interesting with all of this is this wasn't just done by, Radio Master going off and saying, we're just going to build a board and you guys can use it. This was done hand in hand with the lead developer of Rotorflight, and it's been put together based on his specifications for what will work. And that's a big thing, because what you actually have is a platform that is guaranteed to work well. It's not a platform where a third party's developed it, not consulted, and just said, here, it's compatible, go, and it's somehow kind of left to the open source devs to magic up a fix. And there certainly are other brands releasing boards who have done exactly that and kind of, designed the board and here you go, make it work. And it's kind of just not really fair, is it? Because you're kind of pushing the responsibility and liability onto the software guy who had nothing to do with the hardware and wasn't consulted. But, we won't go into who those people are. But, yeah. So, Radio Master Nexus. I'll try and get this up close to the camera. Maybe battling to focus. This is a pretty high quality board. We've got kind of like a CNC aluminium case. It's all designed obviously for heat dissipation and everything else that goes with it. And for anyone who can focus on this, let me try and get that. I don't know if we can actually see that. You'll see that the ports are quite clearly labelled. We've got DSM, we've got CRSF, ABC, etc., and a whole lot of other things on it. Now, I'm just going to draw your attention. DSM, you can plug Spectrum straight into this. It will work, no problem. I'm not sure I'd want to plug Spectrum into it because you lose a whole lot of Rotorflight functionality by not having the telemetry side of things, but it does support it. So if you've got an existing setup running Spectrum with Spectrum satellites, you can plug in, it will work. But a big one is the fact that you can run CRSF. Now, CRSF, for any heli guys who don't know this, it's basically a protocol that was developed by Team Black Sheep, and it's been picked up and used by a lot of people, and primarily the big one, it's been used by ELRS, Express LRS, which is huge in the drone world, but also has some distinct advantages potentially in the heli world. So more than anything, it comes down to controlling latency. ELRS can theoretically achieve an incredibly low latency, but it is also kind of a high-tech system in terms of the end-user ability to configure it. But it supports ELRS, full telemetry, etc. And worth noting while we're on that topic, do you know what also supports ELRS? FR-Sky. So I've got an ELRS module in the back, and I've got full high-speed telemetry that works. These two things can link up with no problem. But you don't need to use ELRS, and I think that's key, because you could put Spectrum in, there's an S-Bus input port, you could also use FreeSky's F port. So there are options. You're not limited to just these protocols. You can pick and choose, and in true Betaflight style, which is where Rotorflight is derived from, kind of the sky's the limit, you can do it. And that's kind of cool. Now, I've been flying one of these boards now, well, the development boards. I've got, in fact, probably most of those helis. Well, I think at least 3 of them have a Nexus in them, and I've been flying them in conjunction with a couple of other guys who I fly with, and kind of really putting it through its paces. And I think it's fair to say that I'm impressed. It flies very, very nicely. Now, I've got to be honest, I've not flown one of those. I've got this as a development unit which I've been using, and it's sitting on my desk and it works. I've not had one of those in a heli, so I can't truly compare. But I can compare it to the Flywing one. And off the cuff, I don't really understand myself quite what it is, but I think it must come down to the ability of the gyros. I find the Nexus always seems to feel just a little bit better in the sky. You know, if I have the same tune that's on that, sitting on that, you know, I'm just kind of like, this one just feels nicer. So I kind of attribute this to just the gyro, and I think that by having worked directly with the developers of Rotorflight, they've achieved something great. And it's going to, well, in the end, it's going to transform the market. It will plug into just about any heli you want. You know, it does the thing. And if you happen to be an ELRS fan, it's worth noting that they are also, Radiomaster have released, well, at the same time, you've got the RP3-H. I assume -H is for heli, but there's something quite important about this, because what I can do, and I've got a bunch of leads here. In fact, I'm not even going to try and get it out of the video. There's a bunch of leads. The great thing is that you plug in there, and that's your ELRS link done. It's super simple. You don't have to kind of do anything fancy. You don't have to mess about with soldering. It's kind of just plug it in and go. And that's kind of cool, and I think very, very necessary in this market, because if Rotorflight's going to become more mainstream, and to all intents it does seem to be picking up a lot of momentum at the moment, well, you don't need to be a system which the uber geeks use and can kind of configure and kind of do what they're doing with the soldering iron, because that's great, I can do that. You know, I'm the uber geek. But yeah, there's a lot of other people who are just not interested in that, and what they want is something they can go plug, 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 plug. It works. And in truth it does. You know, Rotorflight all up has turned into a fantastic system. The project's seeing more and more sort of top-end pilots beginning to use it, and that's kind of interesting, because, well, you know what, when your top competitive pilots start to wake up and pay attention, actually you've done something right. And I think for the project, that's kudos to them. They've, you know, Dr. Rudder's pulled off an amazing system, and it works well. So yeah, the big news, obviously, in all of this, because I've rambled a bit, because that's what I do, the Nexus, it's going to hit the market very, very soon. It's without a doubt a fantastic flybarless unit, and I hope Radiomaster do very well off the back of this. Certainly my end goal is to plug it into every one of my helis, but I've only got a few of them, so that's all joy of development, and you know, pre-releases and everything else that goes with it. But yeah, it's a nice system, and very well supported by Rotorflight. Couldn't be better supported. So yeah, let's hope we see this on the shelves within the next couple of weeks. So that's all from me, guys. I've rambled a bit. I've told you a little bit about the Nexus. Take it as a teaser. Exciting stuff is coming. I can't wait. Enjoy. Cheers.